this is the kind of experience we have treated around more than 4,000 patients as of now. So when we talk of vaccine, it's almost a year after COVID-19 was first seen in humans, and vaccine to protect us from the virus are here. So it's almost more than a year we have gone through this, and now we have the vaccines. So just to let you know, scientists and research work quickly and thoroughly to find out effective, safe vaccines that could be given to the public in record time. So this is the one of the vaccines which is available in the record time. And the Pfizer's and Moderna vaccines are the first to be approved for the emergency use by the FDA. But as you know, now the Covishield is also approved, Covaxin is also approved, but those are the first one to be approved. But as it happens with everything that's new, so rumors have been circulating about these vaccines. So that's a common phenomenon. That's a human nature. Whatever comes up very fast, so we tend to unbelieve the things. And as a result, there are many rumors around which are circulating about the vaccines. So this is one of those where we say okay, the vaccines aren't safe, but because they were developed quickly. So this is a very common question asked. As I already said, okay, this vaccine is available in the record time. So this is a common question asked where people say no, vaccines aren't safe, and they were because they were developed quickly. So this is one of the faults. This is not right time. So what exactly has happened? I'll tell you. Whenever we have any study to be made or any vaccine to be made, so we need to initially do the clinical trials. So there are many trials available: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So phase 1 trial is always to look for the safety, so which hardly takes any time because we just study around 10, 20, 30 patients in that. Then comes the phase 2 trial, which look into the efficacy. So that also looks into the 100 patients. Then comes the phase 3 trial, which is a bigger trial, where we look into the more volunteers, around 3,000, 4,000. Because usually whenever any drug is there, I have to explain it to the people, this is for the diseases, this is what the drug is, and we need volunteer. But in this case, everyone was educated because it was a pandemic and everyone was educated. So the volunteers and all things were efficaciously available. And if I have to apply for a study, usually take months or 2 months for the approval from the government authority. But in this case, approvals are within a day or maybe within 2 days. So these are the things which are fast tracked. And this is the many of the time lag which was usually lost in the bureaucracy, and making the people understand who are being the part of the trial was not required. And this is why it became quite early. So this was one of the advantages what we have. Safety wasn't compromised in any way. What happened quickly was to finding the vaccine to test. So it took scientists so long to do that, but thanks to the scientific we made over the years. So now we have more of a machinery available, more of the intelligence available, and it's a global thing so that we can find viruses so quickly and also do the vaccinate. So COVID-19 is similar to other coronavirus, what we have seen in humans like MERS and SARS. So there was previous research that could be used to speed up the process. So we had the similar disease like MERS and SARS, which happened in recent time, 2002, 2012. And so we had some kind of data. And again, this data was used. So all this process, which takes 3 or 4 years because of the pandemic, easy approvals, availability of the volunteers, and the previous experience, which is similar kind of, this could be made earlier. So it wasn't, safety wasn't compromised at all. And all is well, I can assure you. So the most common rumor, which again was now I think it's gone through, the side effects of COVID-19 vaccines are very dangerous. This is what everyone is thinking. So COVID vaccine can have side effects, and the vast majority are very short term, not serious or dangerous. So as commonly the vaccine developers reported, and we also know because we many of us have taken the vaccine, we simply feel there's a pain at the injection site, there's a body ache, headache, or fever for a day or two. And these signs are the vaccine is working to stimulate your immune system. So someone who always says, "K, I did not feel anything after getting the vaccine," so I always tell them maybe your immune system is weak, it hasn't worked, and you are not purely vaccinated. So uh, these are the signs. So I am actually injecting a virus in my body. So there are two types of vaccines, like live attenuated vaccines. That means it's a live virus, but it's non-pathological. That is we call attenuation of the virus. And there are certain vaccines which are the dead virus. So we are implicating something inside the body, introducing something inside the body, and body has to react. So body will obviously, immune system will react by fighting against it. So some few people have body aches, headaches, or fever, and these are the simple things which have been reported. Then the rumor comes in the COVID-19 vaccine was developed with or without controversial substances. Like there was video flowing around, which was at its peak somewhere in the November and December, and people were like, "This vaccine will paralyze you. This is something which is not to be done." So the first two COVID-19 vaccines authorized by the FDA contain mRNA. So there was speculation about the mRNA as well because the name simulates or is the synonym with the DNA. So everyone thought mRNA will act on the DNA and our DNA will be changed and then we will be monkey, donkey. So many those speculation came in or we'll be converted into different human beings or aliens. So all those videos also have gone through and we faced those videos as well. But actually, it's not. It contains mRNA and other vaccine ingredients such as fats, salts, as well as small amount of sugars. And these vaccines are not developed using fetal tissue as it was speculated, and they do not contain any material such as implants, microchips, or tracking devices. I mean, this was also the story which was read by me and quite funny. Where people says that Chinese had put something inside so it will track your movements, it will track what we are doing. I mean, we are going to introduce vaccine in so many of people, and they don't have to track thousands or crores of people in the system. They are smart enough to track few people whom they want to. So I don't think there's any implant or microchips or tracking device in the vaccines as well. So the variants are going to get us anyways, and vaccines or not. So this is what is a common question, and that is true as well. And this is what we are looking into the second wave. So there's something called as immune escape. So as human beings are intelligent, virals are also intelligent. So they also find a way out. So there's something called as the variants in the common term, and the scientific term we called it as an antigenic drift or antigenic drift. So they change the cell wall or some kind of arrangement. So they also mature and they keep on changing the pattern. So this is why sometimes if the variant is available, so this same vaccine might not be available against the variant. So always there's a speculation. What what is available is what is available now. You get it. Don't think about the variant much. What we are seeing now is if you have a vaccine and if you're getting infected again after the vaccine, disease has been very mild. Mild it means very mild. Just for a fever or two, there's nothing else in that. So this is what we have observed, and it might happen. So okay, total variant might not, next variant might not be affected by the vaccine and might get us. But as the variants comes in, booster doses and other vaccines will also comes in. So now we have flu vaccines, swine flu vaccines, which we take every yearly on an annual basis. So as there's a different variants of the virus, because the virus has this property of changing. The one of the main great point where we call this is a virus when there's a property of changing. So this has been accepted scientifically, and variants of the vaccines or booster doses of the vaccines will also come in as the variants come in. Just because it's going to variant, we cannot risk ourselves with the existing one. So as I told you, scientists are monitoring new variants across the globe, and there's a concern may mutate, highly deadly virus with more powerful vaccines cannot combat. So there's a possibility. Immunologists are generally convinced that humans have the upper hand. Second, if new variants do emerge, vaccines compared are prepared quickly, as I told you, and we will soonly get the booster doses for the same. So, as a transmission, as we always say, a vaccine may not prevent the disease, but we definitely need a vaccine to end this pandemic and to make our life normal. So, as supposedly Covishield says they have efficacy of 65 to 70%. So, out of 100, at least 65 are safe, maybe 35 are not. So that breaks the cycle. So that breaks the cycle. That breaks also the pandemic. So it might become an endemic thing or might become an epidemic thing, and it will allow us to live a normal life as well. So vaccine is very much important to break the cycle of transmission and to break the pandemic. Though everyone may not be safe, but even if 50-60% are safe, it's good enough. Then again, the next question is vaccine can lead to long-term effects. So which is again false. So with vaccine is just going to be complication or side effects like an allergic reaction, for example, that will occur within hours to minutes of receiving the vaccine. So if the most dreaded complication, what we are worried about the vaccine is about the anaphylaxis. That is a very high risk of an allergy where there's a collapse. So that occurs within minutes or hours. So it doesn't take uh, have a long term effect on anyone. So I don't think there's any long term effect of the vaccine to us. At least scientifically, it is not known of. So I think we shouldn't be worried about it. And as we are taking vaccines, we are many of us has taken vaccines. All my friends across the globe have taken vaccines, so we have not seen any serious side effects as of now. And uh, I trust me, is one of the safest one around, because whatever the numbers are coming in, even in the newspaper that day I read it, some 180 people have vaccine related death. So I mean, it's been given to the crores and crores of people. If out of those 180 had a vaccine related death, it's not possible. If there's something to be vaccine related, it will be the majority of the cases which will suffer. So if you study the cases of 1 crore who did not receive a vaccine, I'm sure 180 of them also must have died because of some reason. So it's just a coincidence what happens if someone has taken a vaccine and after 15 days has an heart attack. We say okay, this was related to the vaccine, but we need to also see someone who did not had a vaccine also did suffer a heart attack. So I cannot say because that person did not take a vaccine, he had an heart attack. So it has to be head-on-head comparison. We just cannot pass those lay statements saying it is related to the vaccine unless until proven scientifically. So you one can get COVID-19 from the vaccine. Again, this is very false. I mean, one of my the relative also debated with me on this, because family had gone for vaccination and then they had the disease after a few days. So what is actually happening? Because the vaccination centers are totally crowded, and uh, it's been a long wait over there, 3 to 4 hours. Apart from the private centers like us, where it's social distance is maintained, and we follow all the precautions, and the wait is just 1 or so. But if you go to the government centers, I mean, there has been a chaos around, and wait is around 3 to 4 hours. So we tend to lose our guard, and because of loosening our guard, we tend to get some infection around, and this is how we get the COVID-19. But it can't be because of the vaccine at all. There's no way scientifically also where vaccine can give you the COVID-19, because it's a dead virus and it is a attenuated virus. So there's no way where you can get a COVID-19 from the vaccine. So there are no live viruses in the vaccine, so they cannot infect you. And basically, vaccine makes our body produce one single protein. So 1 second. So vaccine makes our bodies produce one single protein from the virus. That protein that infects our cells, by making that protein, we prevent infection, and we might have side effects like headaches or chill because the body is creating an immune response, not because we have an infection. So as I told you initially, vaccine is known to create an immune response, and because of that immune response, we'll have a headache or chills, and it's not because of the infection. So this is one of the misnomer where the uh, wave has emerged, where we can say I already had a COVID-19, so I don't need to get vaccinated. So as I told you, COVID-19, if I suffered a COVID-19, I suffered COVID-19 from one of the strain. Uh, so I'm immune against that strain, and vaccine has few more strains, so it will protect you from variety of the strains. So again, this statement is false, and as I told you, it's tough one to answer because it has the variety of the strains. एक टॉक में हो राहुल एक टॉक में हो रोटरी क्लब के so it's a tough one to answer uh, because obviously, and one more speculation is that antibodies tend to go down as the time goes on. So our titers goes down. So it's always better to have the booster doses of the vaccines, and the whatever guidelines you see, whether it's a Center of Disease Control or the Indian government guidelines, they all have suggested one should go for the vaccination even if you had COVID-19. The time period is 3 months, so one should get vaccinated 3 months after once you suffer from the COVID-19. So people with underlying condition shouldn't get vaccinated. In fact, it's other way around. People with underlying disease should get vaccinated. And as you know, as the government opened up the bracket, initially it was for the healthcare workers, because I always say it was not respect towards us. We were made guinea pigs to show to the world, if doctors can take it, why not you? So we as a guinea pigs took it in large proportion, and we all are safe. Now it's open to the population as well. So, and then the next step was towards the people who are at high risk of acquiring COVID-19, that is severe COVID-19. So diabetes and hypertension. So in fact, those are the ones where government insisted and they are in need of the vaccine. So there's someone who want a vaccine, someone who needs a vaccine. The people with suppressed immunity or people with the hypertension, diabetes, they are the one who need vaccine, because if they get the COVID-19, it's more probability they will have the severe COVID-19. So ideally they should get themselves vaccinated. And again speculation that people with immune suppressed system shouldn't get vaccinated. So immune suppressed system is like someone who's on cancer treatment or has autoimmune disease should definitely. So if you go to the any of the guidelines, they say they should get themselves vaccinated as soon as possible. Only the speculation is immune system is poor. So whether it will respond to the vaccine, whether we will have enough antibody titer, I think that's a luck. But that should not be a hindrance for you not having a vaccine because immune system is poor. So always take a vaccine. Then if your immune system is good enough, you will have some response. If it's really suppressed, you might not have response, but it's not going to harm you to an extent. So again, this is, I think I explained this, COVID-19 vaccines will alter your DNA, which is a false statement to be made. So Pfizer and Moderna vaccine use messenger RNA to protect us from COVID-19. And I think this is where this rumor comes from. So mRNA basically gives our cells the blueprint for the factories that will build the protein to protect us from COVID-19. So this is where the phenomenon of the name came in, and people got scared that mRNA will cause the virus to go into our DNA and mutate it, but doesn't even go into the center part of the cell. As I told you, that's a different, mRNA is different, DNA is different. So mRNA doesn't even go to the center part of the cell where we have our DNA stored. So it doesn't even go near to the DNA. Forget about getting into the DNA and changing it. So if you could take a vaccine, it could make you infertile. This was a statement which came in earlier days, and this was related to one of the contain which vaccine had, and which is also related to the infertility. But again, this is a proven and it is studied very well. I mean, this thing after that, uh, this was studied very well amongst the subjects, and there was no incidence of any infertility with the vaccines. If I'm pregnant or breastfeeding, then definitely I shouldn't get vaccinated. So now the thing is. Uh, when certain things are not studied. So whenever we do the trials, initially the trials are always conducted in the healthy subjects. So pregnant and breastfeeding women are always considered important ones. So trials, whatever the drug came in, always once it's safer for 3-4 years in certain subjects, then only those are tested in the pregnant and breastfeeding females. So it's because not tested in pregnant and breastfeeding. This is the reason why no one recommends it. But if you ask me technically, I don't think there's any harm if they get vaccinated, because ultimately body immune system is going to produce antibodies, and that antibodies will get transmitted to the newborn as well. But as far as the regulations are concerned, guidelines are concerned, they do not allow pregnant or breastfeeding to take a vaccine just because it's not being studied in those subjects. Nothing beyond that. So once I get vaccinated, I don't have to wear mask or practice social distance. So this is where we are facing the second wave, because large number of population were vaccinated, and because they were vaccinated, their guards went down, and everyone stopped wearing mask and practicing social distancing. So this is why we got it. As I told you, vaccination, even the vaccination literature tells you it provides protection in 70% of the cases. 30% don't have the protection, enough protection. So who knows who is in 70%, who is in 30%? We never know that. And there are different strains available. As I told you, you might not have the severe disease, but you're bound to get COVID-19 with some new strain is available for against which vaccine is not effective. So it's always advisable to practice social distancing and wear mask till this pandemic laws, until the advisory of the government of India is on. So once you're vaccinated, doesn't allow you to get your guards down. Always you need to protect yourself. Now the question will come: if I have to continue with the same protection, then why do I get vaccinated? So uh, that protection is not enough. As I told you, once you get vaccinated, you have the probability of dying because of COVID-19 is very less. Because I have seen almost 50 patients post vaccination who had COVID-19, but all 50s were mild. They did not even require an oxygen. Forget about going them to the level where they can die. They did not even need an oxygen. So I think this is good enough example where even if we have to wear a mask and practice social distancing, we should get vaccinated, because God forbid, even after vaccination, if we get the COVID-19, it's going to be the mild disease most of the times. So as supplies are initially limited, not everyone can receive the vaccine right now. So government has opened it in a gradual. So frontline workers were the one who received the vaccines in the first stage, and now slowly and gradually as the stocks build up, they will open it for everyone. Now they open it for the public who is above 45 years of age, and uh, just trust us, because so many of us taking the vaccine by now, all the frontline health workers. If it had a problem, if there was a problem, then I believe if 50% of the doctors will also die in this pandemic because of vaccination, then there no one will be to treat the COVID-19 vaccine or no COVID-19 patients. So almost 70-80% of doctors have taken this vaccine, and all are healthy and hearty, doing well. I think that should boost your confidence to take the vaccines, go forward, and that is the only way to end this pandemic. Thank you. So here I end my talk, and now I open this for the second wave questions on the second wave, anything related to the vaccine.
Yeah, thank you so much, Doctor. There are some questions related to vaccine that has come up in the chat, because I think Dr. Khanke's internet is not working. So I'll take that questions from Dattareji. Moderna vaccine is more safe. That is question for here also. Like Covishield was more effective. There's those publicity or whatever that news there was there than Covaxin and all. So can you throw some light on that? That all are same or some are more
See,
effective?
as far no, no, as far as safety concern, all are same, because when the vaccine any was studied, even the Moderna when it was studied, or Covishield was studied, or Covaxin was studied, so no drug is safe. For example, even if I take paracetamol, what we take day in day out, or Crocin or Dolo 650, these are all same medications. Even those drugs are known to cause hepatic failure or liver failure, but it doesn't mean that we be not taking those medications. So those drug causes problem, 1 in 1 crore, 1 in 10 crore, or 1 in 1. So when these are studied in a subject of around 3,000 or 3,500, it varied. Covaxin was studied in 3,000, Moderna was studied in 2,000 subjects, then Covaxin was studied in 8,000 subjects. So they had 3, 4 events which are known with the vaccination. So even the polio vaccine or flu vaccine, what we take on yearly basis, on annual basis, even those are known to cause transverse myelitis. So transverse myelitis is something which will cause a paralysis or something. So that is a known reaction of all the vaccines available across the globe. But those are the known complication and within the acceptable limits. That doesn't stop you for introducing any subject. So that is true with Moderna, that is true with Covishield, that is also true with the Covaxin. That's true with all the vaccines. They all the vaccines had few incidents which are in the acceptable limits, which we know do happen, and those are considered to be safe, because if you see it happens 1 in 1 lakh. So I would say I have saved almost 1 lakh life with compromising one. So this is how the medicine takes it. So this is why, as far as the safety is concerned, all are equally safe. Now, when it comes to the efficacy, efficacy means how many out of them will definitely not get the COVID-19. How effective it is. That is what is called as efficacy. So efficacy of Moderna and in the studies is supposed to be as close to the 90%. Efficacy of Covaxin is as close to the 85%. And efficacy of Covishield is somewhere around 70%. So efficacy wise, Moderna is best. Out of 100, 90 will be safe, 10 will again have the COVID. In Covaxin, 15 will have COVID, 85 will have not. And in the Covishield, 30 will have COVID and 70 will have not. So efficacy wise, there's a difference. But when it comes to safety, all are same.
The related question, that what is the time gap between the first dose and the second dose? There is a lots of confusion in that also. I think Rakesh Upadhyay has posted this. That should it be 28 days or other follow some 40 days? Uh, in some other country, there is a different parameter. In India, there is a different parameter. First and second dose.
No,
Could I add
basically,
one more thing in the question? Like those who are following 28 days, they are telling that because of vaccine shortage, they are telling that after 40 days you should apply.
Okay. Yeah, Dr. Bharat.
yeah. So what had happened when it was studied initially, or initially mean it's just one time study. So when it was studied, they studied at the duration of 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and 8 weeks. So when the Covishield was studied, this is just regarding the Covishield. This confusion is not come from the Covaxin, is not come from the Moderna vaccine. This confusion is just when it's related to the Covishield, when anyone is taking the Covishield vaccine. In Moderna and Covaxin, 28 days are fixed. So the confusion is in the Covishield. So when they study the Covishield at 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and 8 weeks, what they found, efficacy varied from 50 to 80%. So at 4 weeks, it was 50%. At 6 weeks, it was somewhere around 65 to 70%. At 8 weeks, it was close to 75%. So this is why scientifically it was advised to take at an interval in between 6 to 8 weeks. This is what the advisory was when the initial paper was there in the Oxford. But I believe somehow our government fixed it at 28. Maybe one reason was to make it uniform for all the vaccines, because Covaxin is at 28 days, Moderna is at 28 days. Maybe the other reason was, which I'm not sure what exactly the reason was, maybe the other reason was they wanted to finish this vaccination drive as quickly as possible so that more and more people are vaccinated in a shorter span of time. Because if I make it 8 weeks, then obviously second week come a month later and the vaccination schedule gets delayed and everything gets delayed. So maybe that was the reason which they realized it's not right scientifically and they corrected it. So ideally, Covishield should be taken in between 6 and 8 weeks. Now even the government of India says there's no confusion in that. So even if you go at 4 weeks, they are not going to give you. They will tell you come after 6 weeks. So that confusion is there initially. Now it's not there in any. So government of India has changed those regulations and it's within 6 to 8 weeks.
But in Ahmedabad, government of India, people, they are telling 40, after 40 days only the second dose can be given. And this is happened with my parents, and my in-laws have already taken after 28 days in Saurashtra region.
Sir, that was around 15 days back.
No.
When was that, sir? It was around 15 days back.
Within last 10 days.
Yeah, because advisories come of 6 to 8 weeks in last 15 days.
Covishield and which vaccine is applying, that even my father didn't get any message. So we don't know which vaccine given.
No. So, sir, which vaccine given? I have no authority to tell you.
No. Just I am just expressing that how we come to know that.
I'm not unhappy with your answer. I'm coming to my answer. So, which vaccine was given? That is known with the COVID. So, if it was Covaxin, obviously you will have a reflection in your system within 28 days, if I know the system. And if Covishield, in last 2 weeks, it's a clear guideline released by Government of India. And because we are vaccination center in Reliance, so we had a gadget copy with us where they very clearly mentioned given in 2 weeks. And also so what you suffered, because even I took it at 40 days because we were the initial frontline workers, and that time beyond 40 days they were not giving us. So when we all, though we knew what the science is, we knew it is supposed to be taken somewhere near to the 8 weeks, but we had to take it at 6 weeks because after that they wouldn't allow us to take it. So but now change has been made, and as we are part of the system, we know it doesn't reflect in the system. Now even if you come at 5th week, it will not allow me to give you the second dose.
So thank you so much, doctor. So there is a one question, last question related to vaccine uptake. After that, we'll go to the second bit because lots of confusion on that side. So there is a question that now we know that long-term consequences associated with COVID-19, because now 1 year we have been going through this. So do we now know exactly what is the long-term damage it can do to the patient? And we know that at least those treatments are available now. Are we more confident now after 1 year?
So sorry, come back again. What is it?
The question is, do we now know the long-term consequences associated with COVID-19, as it has been there for some time now, last 1 year? So do we know how much damage?
Long-term consequences with COVID-19, sir. Now COVID-19 has been divided into mild, moderate, and severe disease. So COVID-19 has been divided into mild, moderate. Mild people will not have any problem at all, because I think it's just like a flu-like symptoms to this. Moderate, they have some kind of lung involvement, maybe somewhere close to the 40 to 50%, depending on the severity of the disease, because beyond 50% we call it as a severe disease. So moderate also we have not seen in my long-term follow-up of 1 year also I have not seen any major lung involvement. Whatever CT scan I do, there's very minimal fibrosis. which will not affect your life at all, even if you are an athlete. And when it comes to the severe disease, it was really severe disease. Then the damage around 10 to 15% do remains back. But I don't think it's going to affect your life, even if you are doing the local exercises or you are not a national sports level person. You can run around, do a marathon to a level. So in my experience, whatever 4,000 patients I have treated, just one of them is still on oxygen. Rest all are doing well and hearty.
Should those with RA go for CRP test before taking the vaccine?
No, sir. CRP, the CRP test is actually a test of inflammation. So CRP test will be high if there's any inflammation in the body.
Yeah.
Suppose even if you had an injury while playing football, even if you have a fracture, even if the female is menstruating, even if you have bacterial sepsis, even if you have TB, CRP will be high.
Okay.
So CRP tells you what level of infection is there. So now in COVID-19, we know this patient has COVID-19. This patient doesn't have an injury. So CRP level correlates with the severity of the disease. This is why using the CRP. CRP has been there used since 50 years. It's just because it's been pandemic, we are using CRP. CRP doesn't diagnose as COVID-19.
No, my question is, I have got rheumatoid arthritis and there is swelling since so many years it is there.
And your CRP will always be high, madam.
Pardon?
Your CRP will always be high.
Okay, so then what I have to do?
Nothing. That's a sign of inflammation. That doesn't tell you okay, it's on COVID. This is what I'm trying to tell you.
Okay. So no need to go for
CRP
CRP.
doesn't diagnose as COVID-19.
Mm.
You go for the vaccination. There's no relevance.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Sir,
Thank you.
sir,
So
those who
there
have
is one.
taken, one minute.
So
Sir, those who have taken second vaccine after 28 days,
vaccine has no effect on the inflammation. That's what you're saying.
No, vaccine will have an effect on inflammation. Vaccine will also create an inflammation. But CRP, where the CRP came up from? So this is a, I mean, why did you ask me this question? I'm just understanding. What was your, if you're asking me a question, what is your understanding? You tell me your understanding, I'll clear your doubt.
You know, when we consulted our doctor after the first vaccine, before we go for the second vaccine, she said that you better go for a CRP test. So that is why we are just asking you this question.
So I really doubt that, doctor.
Okay.
sir,
I'm
sir,
sorry, I'm
sir,
speaking
one
on the open
question.
forum. I really doubt that, doctor. I mean, CRP is absolutely, as I told you, CRP is a marker of inflammation. Let me tell you what the CRP is. CRP is a marker of inflammation. It will go high in any inflammation. So supposedly I take vaccine. I will have some inflammation. My immune system will react. My CRP is bound to go up.
Okay.
I told you, forget about the disease. Even if I have a fracture or I have an injury while playing a football or playing a cricket, there will be inflammation in the body. My CRP is bound to go up. So CRP will go high whenever there's inflammation, either from infection that is viral, bacterial, or parasitic, or any injury or anything, even the injection causing an inflammation. Even if just suppose a boiling tea falls on my hand, there will be an inflammation. CRP will go up.
Yeah.
So it just CRP was correlating very well with the severity of the disease in the COVID-19 patients. This is why we are using it.
Okay.
CRP is not used to diagnose COVID-19. If my CRP is 200, it doesn't mean I have a COVID-19. CRP must be 200 because of the injury I had while playing, while cycling, or maybe accident I met. But if I have COVID-19 and my CRP is 200, that means I have a severe COVID-19.
Oh. Okay.
So it has
So,
a
sir-
relevance only when there's a certain diagnosis. Otherwise, it's an irrelevant thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Sir, what about the CT value? Like it is 24 or 35 because after having the COVID, like it's a lot of confusion about the CT value because sometimes they
That
declare
confusion
it
is also,
as.
yeah, that confusion is also created by a few of the doctors who go online and make the video out of it and earn money out of YouTube. So I'll tell you exactly what happens. So it's within our fraternity. No one is to be blamed. So whenever the diagnosis RT-PCR has been run, so there are cycles, cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3. So whenever there's a machine which runs the cycles, so supposedly it came out positive in certain cycle or within certain minutes. There are certain criteria. So for your understanding, to make it simple, I'll report it as a cycle. but there are certain minutes also involved in that. So it came down to be positive at 19th cycle. That CT value, that is called cycling time. CT means cycling time. So that cycling time is 19 minutes. If it came out to be positive at 30, so CT value 30 means cycling time is 30 minutes.
Yes.
Now, supposedly, so this is what the CT value means. Now I'll tell you how it impacts. Now, supposedly, I have the COVID-19 to start with. I will have, to start with, I will have low viral load. Then virus will multiply in my body. Then my viral load will go high. Then my immune system will pick up. My antibodies will form. Again, my viral load will go down.
Yes.
So supposedly, I do it very early. Viral load will be low. It will
Yeah.
take 30 minutes for the test to diagnose me. So CT value will be 30. If I do it on fever or body ache, when the viral load is very high, my CT value will be 16, 17, 18, 19. If I do it late, after the symptoms, again my CT value will be low. So it has only that relevance. It has no relevance to the severity of the disease. Any person, whether it was a mild disease or moderate disease or severe disease, if they will go through this phase at some point, if they do a test, the CT value will be 16, will be also be 30. It has no relevance to the severity of the disease. It's just how long did you get the disease or how long you take to test become negative.
So it is
Good
not
that you told
if-
this because
sorry.
बोलिए.
No, I was saying that so it is not that if somebody has a high CT value, he will not be infecting anybody. That is what I heard, that anybody who has more than 30.
No. Yes, that is true. So that is true. That is true.
Hmm.
If the CT value is beyond 33, 34, that means your viral load is very less. Your viral load is very less. So there have been studies which says there have been two cutoff, 33 and 35. So few studies says 33, few studies say 35. So CT value beyond 33 and 35, because viral load is so low, you will not be infecting others. That is true.
Okay.
But when it comes to the severity of the disease, because we get a question, कि मेरा CT value 16 hai, that means viral load is very high. That means I will have very severe disease. I'm going to dying of it. It is not true.
Okay.
It has no relevance to the severity of the disease. This is what I'm trying to tell you. CT value 16 को mild भी हो सकता है. CT value 30 को severe disease भी हो सकता है.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Dr. Bharat, my daughter
Okay,
was
thank you.
asymptomatic. Can I take one question, please?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, my daughter was asymptomatic, but her CT value was 26.5 because we had traveled. So I have senior citizens at home. So my husband told, better get yourself checked before you enter the house. So so she turned out to be positive. But after that, she doesn't have any symptoms as such. And today is the 12th day. Because since my doctor told that she's still a 13-year-old, she'd not be able to manage. So you need to share the room with her. You need to take care of her. So I don't know, she doesn't have any symptoms as such, but she needs to complete the quarantine period, right? 14 days.
Yeah, as per the advisory of the government of India, whatever level you have been, whether the CT value of 16 or 27, so quarantine is complete only after 14 days. So 14
Okay.
days is mandatory. Even if someone, we come across a person with a CT value of 30. So technically after 3-4 days, if that person is healthy enough, it will be the negative result. But as per the policy and as per the regulatory advice, has to finish 14 days of quarantine. There are no ifs and buts in that. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr.
Sir,
Bharat.
so one
Hello,
minute,
Dr. Bharat.
Yes,
Dr.
Dr.
Jitendra.
Yeah, Dr. Jitendra.
बोलिए.
So I was just asking regarding the recent evidence of regarding plasma therapy.
So regarding plasma therapy, good you put it across. It's a difficult question to answer in this forum because it's quite technical. So, but I'll tell you what the plasma therapy is. So, when it comes to the COVID-19, sorry.
आप म्यूट कर दीजिए आशीष जी प्लीज सबको. हाँ सॉरी डॉक्टर भरत.
खानगे बात करें, मैं बाकी सबको म्यूट कर रहा हूँ एक एक करके.
हाँ
डॉक्टर खानगे आप कुछ बोल रहे थे, प्लीज कंटिन्यू.
No, I heard him. I heard
No,
him.
I completely,
I heard him.
yeah.
Yeah. So I'll answer his question. So what Dr. Khandge is trying to tell is to enlighten you about the plasma therapy, because there has been very varied view whether to give plasma therapy or not to give. So what I was trying to tell him, it's quite a technical question and difficult to put it, but I'll explain it to you. So COVID-19 acts in two ways. One is when there's a viral replication happening. So it's like a real pneumonia, like bacterial pneumonia hota hai. So it's a viral pneumonia what affects the lungs. Then comes the second phase, which is called the immune phase, which is actually more dangerous and which has caused most of the mortalities, not the viral phase. So immune system activate ho jata hai because immune system has to kill the virus at certain position. They feel we are not able to kill the virus, so pura hyperimmune ho jata hai. That is called a cytokine storm. That comes late. That comes from 10th day to 20th day also it has been reported. So cytokine storm आता है, so they start destroying everything in the body. मतलब पागल हो जाता है हमारा immune system because they cannot kill the virus, so everything comes at one place and they start destroying everything. तो उसमें हमारा lung majorly destroy करते हैं वो, because most of the location of the virus is in the lung, so that is the area they attack, and our body only destroys our lungs. So that is called cytokine storm, hyperimmune response. That comes the late stage, which is how it acts. So now when it comes to the plasma therapy, as we are finding out very antiviral, like Fabiflu use hota hai, Remdesivir use hota hai. So these all are antiviral. So these all are useful when it's the initial stage of the disease. अब पहले 9 दिन या 8 दिन में हो तो, क्योंकि तभी वायरल एप्लीकेशन होता है, उसका डैमेज होता है. 8 या 9 दिन के बाद वायरस डैमेज नहीं करता है, आपका बॉडी डैमेज करता है. So at that period, any antiviral doesn't have a role. That is one. Second is when we come to the plasma therapy. So what we are doing is we are taking plasma for a person who had suffered from COVID-19 with anticipation कि उसके plasma में बहुत सारे antibodies रहेंगे that will fight against the viral. So technically that plasma is antiviral. Am I clear? That plasma is antiviral. So that is effective only when we use in 7 to 8 days. But what is happening is we are using plasma in the later stages. जब भी cytokine storm आता है, जब भी patient ventilator पे चला जाता है, जब भी patient को oxygen लग जाती है, that is the late phase of the disease. So whatever studies have been done about the plasma in that phase of the disease, FDA did it, government of Maharashtra did it, ICMR did it, they all stopped that study considering there was more harm in those cases. If certain bodies stopping the study, like as government of Maharashtra did and ICMR did, matlab study को आधे में ही बंद कर दिया. That means there was majorly something wrong happening. So they came out with the statement, definitely there's no benefit, but we think maybe it's more harmful in those cases. So it is not to be used in moderate and severe disease, is very clear scientifically. But in early stages, within first 7 days, जहाँ पे कोई use करता नहीं है, because उतना कभी patient severe होता नहीं है वो stage में, and we don't even think of plasma. वहाँ पे is effective or not, may be used or may not be used. There we can think of using it or not using it. But in late stage, someone being on ventilator, obviously it's a no.
But then
Okay,
most of the
thank you
doctors,
very much, sir. Just
sorry, Dr. Khandke, sorry.
आप बोलिए।
मैं ये बोल रहा था कि बट जनरली ये हो रहा है कि डॉक्टर्स हम लोगों को तब बोल रहे हैं जब पेशेंट सबसे ज्यादा सीरियस हो जाता है, उसके बाद बोलता है अब इसको प्लाज्मा देना पड़ेगा.
लास्ट ऑप्शन.
वही मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि प्रॉब्लम वहीं पे आ रहा है कि लोग सिवियर डिजीज में इसको यूज कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे क्लियर नो है. बट अभी वैसा है कि इट्स सच काइंड ऑफ थिंग कि हर किसी को समझाना, हर किसी को बोलना मुश्किल है.
वेरी गुड क्लैरिटी.
लाइक एवरीवन हैज टू इंटरप्रेट द थिंग्स इन देयर ओन वेज.
थैंक यू.
Many shortages of remdesivir everywhere. So whether we can use Fabiflu in milder cases so that the need of remdesivir is less. Because every doctor starts asking about giving remdesivir to every patient. So,
no, sir. Basically, yeah, I got your question. What he's asking is because in milder cases, can we use FebiFlu so that they do not progress to the severe disease, and we can save the remdesivir, which is in short, and we shouldn't be using the remdesivir. So now I'll come to the usage of the remdesivir. So there are 5 stages of the disease. That is someone who has a mild disease, someone who has a moderate disease, early moderate disease, someone who has a late moderate disease requiring oxygen, but not on HFNC, that is not a high flow oxygen beyond 8 liters, and not on non-invasive ventilation. And fifth is someone who is on the ventilator, invasive ventilation. So remdesivir is recommended in the below 3, someone who is on the ventilator, someone who is on the non-invasive ventilation, someone who is requiring high flow oxygen. So these are the area where the remdesivir is recommended. And there are people, including me, where we use remdesivir even the someone is on the oxygen. But obviously it is not for a milder version, and also someone who is into the moderate category and not requiring oxygen. So that is clear-cut guidelines are there for the remdesivir. But as he rightly said, people are using it for everyone, right, left, and later, and this is why we are short of the drug. So should we be using FebiFlu? I would say FebiFlu was studied only in the mild cases, and in the mild cases, it was proven to be effective, but definitely not harmful. But my take is mild disease anyways do well. Even if you don't do anything, unko just ghar pe baithao, they do well. But as you rightly say, we can use it, but we have to categorize it. Someone who is just asymptomatic and having mild cough and headache, we might not give. Someone who has a continuous fever of 100 or maybe 101 ka one spike, there we could be using the Favipiravir, that is FebiFlu. So it should not be for everyone. One can categorize it and use it. It's about this, that is my take. But yeah, approval is there for all the mild cases. You can also use it for the someone who just have a mild cough and headache.
Because many big because in MGM also, no, my own relative is there. She is not on oxygen, but she has been given remdesivir. I mean, like anything. I mean, everywhere we are listening that admit हुआ मतलब you have to get that injection. I think.
So हमको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा झगड़ा वहीं पे होता है. मतलब मेरे पास पेशेंट एडमिट होता है, नेक्स्ट डे मेरे को फोन आता है कि देयर हैज बीन अ कंप्लेंट फ्रॉम द पेशेंट रिलेटेड कि ट्रीटमेंट हैज नॉट बीन स्टार्टेड. ट्रीटमेंट हैज नॉट बीन स्टार्टेड, दैट मींस आई हैव नॉट गिवन रेमडेसिविर. Then we go down and explain it to them. So this is where the problem is, and about the understanding. And 3-4 दिन पहले डायरेक्टिव भी आया था. They made it public for people to understand, but it's पैनिक सिचुएशन है. हर एक को लगता है कि मेरा आदमी है, दे दो बस निकल जाए यहाँ से. So I think it's those are the sentiments we have to play with it, and it's very difficult situation for everyone.
डॉक्टर साहब, ये जो आपने मेडिसिन का नाम लिया, उसका स्पेलिंग दे देंगे?
रेमडेसिविर वो आप ले सकते हैं, हमारे ग्रुप में भी है, वो मैं आपको दे दूंगा.
हाँ,
मैं दे दूंगा.
आपने मेरे बेटे को ट्रीट किया था रिलायंस.
अच्छा,
थैंक यू सर, मुझे याद नहीं है लेकिन थैंक यू.
अर्पित मारू.
हाँ सर, मतलब आई एम सॉरी, बहुत 4000-5000 पेशेंट हो गए, तो आई डोंट रिमेम्बर बाय नेम्स, बट थैंक्स फॉर इट. थैंक यू.
Yeah. So we are
Dr. Bharat treated. I am Rotarian Mahinder Ingurani, IPP from Ullasnagar East. I am Rotarian from last 20 years. Dr. Bharat treated me 15 days ago, and I feel he is one of the best doctors available to us in Maharashtra. This I can tell.
Yeah, agree.
Mahendra Ingurani is my mausa, so I remember him very well. I cannot take the liberty to say I don't.
No, in spite of that, the line of the treatment, and I had undergone bypass surgery 17 years ago. I had sugar, I had various other comorbidities, and I was discharged within 6 days, and my CT was 10/25.
जीजा जी, आप मेरी कितनी भी तारीफ करो, लोगों को ऐसे ही लगेगा कि मेरे जीजा जी एक्चुअली कर रहे हैं. But thank you very much. Thank you.
We all agree to that, because my brother also you are treating. So many individuals, family directly or indirectly, you have impacted life. So we are proud of you, obviously. Navi Mumbai at least, we all have been guided by you. Many of us, either friends, families, and relatives. So thank you so much for giving us this, because 2-3 questions बहुत critical थे, उसमें बहुत सारे confusions भी थे. So good that came, and जैसे वो CT value का था, and this also.
That was a very good thing. Yeah.
पुरुषोत्तम जी, आज का सेशन बहुत लंबे समय तक याद रखा जाएगा.
Yes.
डॉक्टर साहब एक क्विक क्वेश्चन.
I have a last question. Can I go for it?
Okay. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, doctor, the question is, why is ivermectin not being promoted more for COVID? I mean, is it helpful in the early stages, and can it be used as a prophylactic?
Ivermectin, it was when COVID was started initially, it was studied in the Bangladesh. So study very clearly said it was not a clinical study. I mean, they did not study clinical study. मतलब we look into the outcome, के mortality benefit. Mortality benefit मतलब कितने पेशेंटों की जान बचती है वो ड्रग देने से. Then as we look into the ventilator benefit, मतलब कितने लोग वेंटिलेटर पे नहीं गए. तो for clinicians those things are important. But what they studied was कि जितने लोगों को आयरमेक्टिन दिए उनमें से बहुत कम लोगों को लॉस ऑफ स्मेल हुआ, लॉस ऑफ टेस्ट हुआ. तो भी लॉस ऑफ स्मेल और लॉस ऑफ टेस्ट सबको तो नहीं होता है. तो दैट वाज इररिलेवेंट पॉइंट. दूसरा, दे सेड कि वायरस क्लियरेंस इज फास्ट. तो वायरस क्लियरेंस इज फास्ट, वो टाइम पे सीटी वैल्यू नहीं होता था. तो वी डिडंट नो कि उनका पहला सीटी वैल्यू क्या था, बाद में का सीटी वैल्यू क्या आया. तो मे बी अगर उन्होंने किसी पेशेंट को 30 पे लिया, वो तो ऑब्वियसली जल्दी वायरस ही क्लियर करेगा. देन इट वाज स्टडीड इन लार्ज नंबर बाय द यूएस गवर्नमेंट, दैट इज एफडीए. दे वेरी कैटेगरिकली सेड वायरस क्लियरेंस में तो कोई इफेक्ट नहीं है, ये ड्रग का कोई भी इफेक्ट नहीं है वायरस क्लियरेंस में. लेकिन एज द प्रोजेक्शंस आर देयर कि हाइपोस्मिया और एनोस्मिया कम होता है. To clear that, we need a bigger studies which have not been done as yet. So this is why it's not been promoted, because clinically there's no much benefit proven in this drug. एक कोई बस अंदर में शॉट आया था, उसने वो पब्लिश कर दिया था and everyone just took it.
And there is one more medicine that came yesterday. I came to know. Khange ji ने भी लिखा है tocilizumab. Is it relevant option?
Tocilizumab is an immunomodulator. As I told you कि वायरस का फर्स्ट स्टेज रहता है वायरल, सेकंड स्टेज रहता है इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स, जैसे बॉडी का इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स. तो टोसिलिजुमैब इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स को सप्रेस करता है. बट इम्यून रिस्पॉन्स को सप्रेस करता है, दैट मींस अपना पूरा इम्यूनिटी खत्म करता है. तो यू हैव चांसेस ऑफ सेकेंडरी इन्फेक्शन. So totally suppresses the immune response so that we don't react to the virus. So that is to be given only in certain conditions. It's not a treatment for the disease. It's for the treatment of the cytokine storm which comes in. So you have to diagnose the cytokine storm. अगर वो cytokine storm आया है अभी मेरा ऑक्सीजन ऊपर जा रहा है, तब भी मैंने टॉसिलिजुमैब दिया तो it will be effective. cytokine storm आके गया, मेरे को पूरा डैमेज करके गया, उसके एक दिन बाद मैं डिजीज दूंगा या उसके मैं 10 घंटे बाद 12 घंटे बाद अगर मैं टॉसिलिजुमैब दूंगा, देन इट्स मोर ऑफ अ हार्म, क्योंकि डैमेज हैज ऑलरेडी बीन डन. आई एम नॉट सप्रेसिंग माय इम्यून सिस्टम, जो फाइट करना है वो भी नहीं करेगा. तो दिस इज अगेन ड्रग व्हिच इज बीन मिसयूज्ड बाय एवरीवन, क्योंकि जैसे पेशेंट वेंटिलेटर पे डालता है तो दे एडवाइस without understanding the pathophysiology behind it, and there's a problem.
Yeah, so a related question to that, doctor, is that people with RA or AS and other such autoimmune disease, are they more likely to get a cytokine storm?
Sir, ideally they are less likely to get a cytokine storm because they're already on the immunosuppressants.
And if they're not taking steroids?
So technically and scientifically they should do well, and in my experience also they have done well.
Okay.
Because they're already on the immunosuppressant, so they don't get cytokine storm.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bharat. I would like to just update you because we have set up here in Navi Mumbai a Rotary COVID help desk. We are 15-16 people. We are helping in the community. Because of this session, we will be definitely be able to do it little much better because हमारा भी कुछ concepts clear हुआ, and the way the language that you use is understandable by, I think, जो लोगों को medical terminologies नहीं भी पता है, you have done it fantastically simple for all of us. So जैसे प्लाज्मा से रिलेटेड है या सिटी वैल्यू से रिलेटेड है, all these concepts, because हमको अगर वो इतने सिंपल टर्म्स में आपने समझाया है, तो हम लोग किसी पेशेंट से बात करते हैं या उनके रिलेटिव से बात करते हैं, तो हमको ये कॉन्फिडेंस रहेगा that we are able to guide them little better. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
With regards to this second phase, why is it so steep?
पुरुषोत्तम,
हाँ सखाराम जी, पहले आप लोग.
सखाराम जी को
Dr. Bharat, I had interacted with you. I am from Nair. I work as one of the members of this Navi Mumbai COVID help desk. I think I just want to appreciate you, Dr. Saab. It is one of the amazing sessions we have attended. and you've almost clarified all the queries. We would just connect with you through our help desk because we are running just to help the community. I think Purushottam, myself, Ashish, and the other key members, someone of us, you would definitely come and meet you. Will not take much of your time. We know you had been extensively busy since last 1 year. So thanks a lot for this amazing session. I just wanted to appreciate, nothing else. All the questions you have already answered. I think generic questions we should not take, because as a doctor, I know Dr. Bharat is immensely busy, and the generic questions we can park, and the other doctors in our group can absolutely take it, because I know the kind of work Dr. Bharat, Akshay, and the whole gang at Reliance is doing. I mean, we cannot express in words.
Yeah.
Okay. So the kind of questions we are throwing, these are generic ones which could have answered even during the first wave. Okay.
Yes.
We should just move on. If there is any critical, we should take it.
Yeah, Chandra, you are asking something.
How is the second phase is spreading so fast and so steep? Because in a very short time it has reached such a high rate.
Yeah, that is also the question I wanted to ask.
That is because we believe the fear factor is gone. There's no lockdown which is happening, and so obviously there's nothing which could break the cycle, the infectivity, and because initially the fear factor was very high, people would follow the precautions very nicely, and lockdown was very strict. Even the authority was very strict. There were containment zones, then there were flows getting locked. Now my neighbor had someone in my just next flat was diagnosed with this, but the whole family was moving in and out. There was no restriction. So obviously it's going to be effective and it's going to spread faster than expected.
Yeah. Thank you. So,
Bharat, just one small clarification. I mean, second wave, as we all know, Europe has already gone through a third wave. So that means looking into the second wave, don't you think we should be much more cautious? Because that means because we have seen whatever Europe and all have got it, we are getting it little later or whatever it is. They got second wave much ahead of us, and second wave was bad. So we were already aware of it. We should have taken much more cautions. So third wave also should be there, will be there. Is that, do you think so?
The second wave is definitely bad than the first wave, ma'am, and it's going to get worse now in next few coming days, because the capacity we were working at Reliance 1 year ago, and this is much beyond that. And now, I mean, we had around we have now 50% more patient what we had initially. And our infrastructure was never exhausted, but at this moment you take any tertiary hospital, infrastructures are exhausted. Though the government machinery had exhausted, but tertiary care was doing well, but now the infrastructure is exhausted, so obviously it's worse, and it will become worse because there are many more people who are not getting the beds available, and obviously if there are no beds, then there's no treatment offered, and they will turn bad in next 3 or 4 days. So, and about the third wave is a difficult question to answer, because if we build up our vaccination drive, then we might be able to break the cycle. And as I told you, then it will become an endemic or pandemic rather than being a pandemic one, endemic or epidemic rather than being the pandemic one. So the efforts are towards just to break the cycle and break down this pandemic. COVID is nowhere to go, here to stay, but we want this pandemic to end.
Thank you.
I think you need to close this session, because Dr. Bharat is a very busy person. We should not take so much of his time.
Yeah. Can you share the appreciation certificate?
Yeah.
Dr. Bharat, we definitely want to meet you and hand over the token of appreciation memento. But because of the situation we are in, I would like to offer this e-memento to you. But definitely, whenever the chances and opportunity will come, we will meet you and hand it over to you.
Purushottam, I got one more question for Dr. Bharat. See, initially you mentioned that because of the crowds in the vaccination center, the disease is spreading. So what is the remedy for that?
It's not because of the crowd, sir. It's because of you letting your guard down in crowd. So keep your guard down.
Maybe your question had the answer.
Yeah, Ashish, can you share it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying, Dr. Bharat, whenever the opportunity will come, we definitely would like to meet and offer this to you in person.
Thank you.
But
Thank
please
you.
accept this on our behalf. This certificate of appreciation is presented to Dr. Bharat Jigyasi, MD Anesthesia, Head of Critical Care Department, Reliance Hospital, Navi Mumbai, for imparting valuable insights on second wave of COVID-19 and vaccination to participants on 11th April 2021 for the session organized by, so there are 4 clubs: Rotary Club of Satellite City, Navi Mumbai, Rotary Club of Navi Mumbai Garima, Rotary Club of Navi Mumbai Sunrise, and Rotary Club of Navi Mumbai Bayside. And it is signed by me and our Kangeji and Club Secretary.
Thank you. Thank
you. You can start that. Now I'll request Chandra, KV Chandra, he is the president of the Rotary Club of Navi Mumbai Sunrise, to offer the vote of thanks. Chandra, over to you.
Thank you, Purushottam. At the outset, I would like to profusely thank Dr. Bharat Jigyasi for taking his time out of his busy schedule and enlightening us on the basic facts, and a lot of myths and realities have been made known to us. So we have a lot of clarifications have been given, and Dr. Jigyasi was very kind enough to answer all the questions, though some of the questions might be looking silly. So, but still he has answered patiently, and thank you very much, Dr. Jigyasi, for taking your time. And I also thank all the president of all the 3 clubs for organizing this seminar, this session on COVID. And I also thank all the members of all the clubs who have made it convenient to attend, and other guests who are here. Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very informative.
Thank you. Very,
Thank
very
you so
very
much.
So
Yeah.
Yes.
wonderful session. Wonderful session.
Wonderful session.
Can I leave, Purushottam?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
please.
thank
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Dr. Sab.
He would leave you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Really, our doubts are clear.
Yeah, yeah. True. So there are many myths. Definitely myths were cleared because हम when हमसे लोग expect करते हैं कि as a Rotarian we will have little more perspective on this. So meeting is adjourned. Thank you so much everybody for joining. I hope it was
Wonderful session, Puru. Wonderful. And good, Puru.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for organizing it. We could meet at least. We could see Puni, Chandru, and all. It's good to see everybody and all the members also. Otherwise, we are not able to meet.
I'm unable to see you.
I know.
Yeah, see.
Well, I will see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you, Purushottam. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you,
Bye.
Sandeep.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Puru.
Yeah. Thanks.